So welcome to the call. And as I was just saying, I can't believe we are in the 4th week of your guys' new training, and you guys being new coaches. So congratulations. And I know you guys have all been loving your programs. And I thought today, on the basis of the feedback that I've got, we would just cover overcoming objections. And if there's anything else as I'm chatting through this, you've got any questions on, just pop it in the chat box or speak up. There's just 4 of you, so it should be quite easy. So really, overcoming objections is us knowing what the objection is in the first place, right? So and this is something as a new coach that I did all the time. So if someone would message me back after I'd invited them and say, no, it's not of interest, no thanks, and I would usually turn around and be like, okay, and that was all I ever did, right? That's an absolute no-no, and you're probably all doing it, which is just totally normal because you're new and you don't quite know what to say after they've said no. But I'm going to challenge you guys to, when you get a no, you might want to write this book down. I've mentioned it before, I think, in a call here. Go for No for Network Marketers. Let me just get the author for you. Is incredible, and it talks about your success in network marketing business being based on how many no's you're willing to get, and no is actually a really good thing. So before I go on, I'm just going to give you the author. Go for No for Network Marketing. Sorry, it's now playing. Is by Richard Fenton and another author, but it's got only from Audible written across where the other author is. So it's Go for No for Network Marketing. Okay, so it's kind of yellow, white, and black. Okay, and it's by Richard Fenton. I can't see the other author, but you'll be able to find it on Amazon for Audible. But essentially, as I was saying, like when you get a no, that's where our skills come in, right? That's what we're here to do, okay? Not to just say, okay, no worries, which is definitely what I used to do. I will then reply and I try to be as polite as I can without sounding like I'm jumping down someone's throat, because if somebody said no and you go, why is that? It could sound really like passive aggressive. So just to reply and just say, thanks so much for coming back to you. Do you mind do you mind me asking why it wasn't of interest? It's just always so useful for me to know. And I think if you put it in that tone, some people still aren't going to reply, in which case you really have done your best. You've asked the question, and if they happen to watch your stories again and they happen to be liking your stuff again, then clearly you're going to reach back out, because they're obviously interested despite the fact they've said no. Okay, so and often they'll come back and they'll say, oh, I don't have time. Okay, so for you guys, typically that's probably going to be with a bootcamp invite, because I think typically most of you guys are just inviting to bootcamp at the moment. So say that was a bootcamp invite and somebody said they didn't have time. In fact, say it was a coach opportunity and say they don't have time. When someone says they don't have time, I love it, because I'm like, you have time. You have time whether or not you want to, whether or not I've invited them to coach opportunity, and you have time if I've invited you to the bootcamp, right? So maybe write these down. The coach opportunity is created for women. I say women because I just have women. That's like the tribe I want. You might want to attract blokes. You might want to say that, but it's created for busy women who want to have another focus, or they want to build a side job, but they're working full time, or they're a full-time stay-at-home mum. This is a business built for people who have no time. It's built for people who have no time availability. So if they'd said that on a coach opportunity invite, I'd say, I completely understand. I thought the same when I'd heard about it, but actually this is a business opportunity which is created in working tiny pockets of your day. And I always say, like, all of my girls, apart from a couple, work full-time or are full-time mums. It literally requires an hour a day. If I got you some more info, do you want to take a look? Yeah, so I'll just kind of bat it back. If someone says they've got no time, and hey Kel, how are you doing?
Hi, sorry for being late.
Oh, that's okay, don't worry. If someone says they've got no time, when you ask them about the bootcamp, so you've invited them to bootcamp, say you're inviting them to the to the MBF sample, you're going to message back and you're going to say, I completely understand how you feel. I was exactly the same. I thought doing this virtual bootcamp would take loads of time, but actually it's what I love the most about this. I don't have to go to the gym. I literally do my workouts wherever works for me in my busy day. I often mention, like, I'm a busy working mum with the kids, goes to nursery and stuff, so people can understand. So that's what my girls in my virtual gym are looking for. They're all super busy women. Do you want to take a look at the info if I send it through? Yes, you're going to ask again because you've overcome their objection. And if they say no again to that, then their objection is not time. Okay. If they say no again, or like, I just don't think it's the right time for me. You could ask them why they felt it wasn't the right time. You know, it just depends. If they've already battered you back twice, you need to be a bit careful. If somebody's battered you back twice, it's probably because they're not quite ready. It depends on your personality. Like it really does. I usually probe, right? Our jobs is we're the experts. You want to probe. You really, like for me, I really want to know whether I've got a solution that they need, because 9 times out of 10, I do. And if I don't probe, I've not done my job. And do you know what? I've not done that person a favor. And the overcoming objection piece comes with your belief in the program. Okay. So if you've had amazing results and you love it, why the heck wouldn't you ask them more questions? If you know what it's done for your life and you're pretty certain that person you're talking to looks as though they need it in their life, and they've told you about their struggles, if they're talking about like their struggles, and then you say like, do you want to join me? And then maybe they say they've got no money. It's our job to overcome their objection, because their objection is often a doubt that they have about their capability. It's not a doubt actually about time or money. So that's how I'd overcome the time one in both of those eventualities. But I really like throughout this whole call, I want you to think about, if I don't try to work out what somebody's objection is or get to the root cause of why they've said no, have I done my job? And would I be happy if Izzy had let me off that hook at that point? You wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't be loving what you're doing. Okay. So think about it from that perspective. I know some of you have like helped more people than others, but it's our duty to help other people. And if we get in our own way and we're like, oh, I feel a bit too awkward to ask them, I'm worried they're going to tell me. Who's that about? That's about us. That's about us and how we feel and how we don't want to put ourselves out there. That's not about them. So, you know, and that kind of strength of conviction and belief comes with time. Now I'm like, why wouldn't everyone want to do it? Like, why wouldn't you? Like, I love it. So if I'm going to ask them more questions and they're going to feel slightly uncomfortable about me asking more questions, I'm not going to feel bad about it, because I'm just sharing what I love authentically, because it's changed my life and it's changed so many women's lives. And I know, again, like when you started, maybe you haven't changed many women's lives yet. And so that strength of belief isn't that there yet. But as I said, like think about what it's done for you, okay? And think about, you know, maybe you had conversations with me and I probed you. Think about if I hadn't have probed you, where you would be. You wouldn't even know about this. You wouldn't be sitting here today. And would that make you annoyed if I hadn't have probed now, knowing you're on the other side? So think about that. And then the other one that we come across a lot is money. I don't have the money right now. And that is a potentially tricky one right now, right? Okay. It could feel really tricky, but this depends on our money mindset. Okay. If our money mindset is, oh, that's a lot of money for somebody that's like going through redundancy and what assumption have we made? And that's something that I've learned a lot through personal development. I actually come through from a real scarcity mindset place, which is where a lot of us come from. And so I would be like, oh no one's going to have the money, right? That's us pushing our assumption about what availability money have off on them, instead of realizing that actually somebody might be like 160 is a ridiculous value for money, like ridiculous. And quite frankly, it is ridiculous for what we get, regardless of whether or not they have the 160. Think about it in another way and really like maybe write down, like Carl Deichler did this with us in London when he came over. He said, write down how much, and you know, this is like more prominent now than ever. Like people have put their memberships on hold. Gyms aren't even open. Think about how much the average gym membership is in the UK. I think it's like 40 quid, something like that. Think about what the average cost would be to them of having a nutrition plan. That would probably be at least 20 quid a month. You know, and to get a nutrition plan, a lot of the time you're going to have a PT to write you a nutrition plan. How much is that going to cost them a month? To have weekly PT sessions with progressive programs, which quite frankly is what we offer, right? The people who go to the gym and they don't have a PT, well, we've definitely got the solution, right? Because they don't have a PT, they're going to go to the gym, they're going to do the same thing in the gym. If they're anything like me before I was a PT, they're going to do the same thing in the gym. They're not going to have the nutritional support and they're not going to get the results. So when someone says, I go to the gym, or even I've got a PT, great, you're going to love this. I've got completely progressive programs for you that can really help you. So if they say they don't have the money, think about the fact that not the majority, but a lot of the women you're talking to, they've cancelled their gym membership. They've had their gym membership frozen. They're sitting at home right now more than anything in this COVID situation, eating way too much food, not moving their body, feeling absolutely shit. And actually it's our duty, right? It's our duty to help them see the value. Like, and often I'll say, like, I get it. And this is genuine honesty. Like, my story is that I paid for this on a credit card, and I had literally just quit my corporate job and I was training to be a PT. So we were living off the savings that I had from my job, right? We have a big mortgage. And I paid for this on a credit card. So when people say that to me, I say, I totally understand. So feel, felt, found. You might want to write that down. Feel, felt, found. This is a way to really overcome someone's objection in a way that is completely relatable. Okay. So somebody's saying they don't have enough money. I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same. I paid the 160 on a credit card. I wasn't even working at the time. I paid from, on my credit card. And what I've found is it was the single best investment I've ever made in my health. And I'd pay 10 times what I did to be where I am today. And seriously, I would pay 10 times what I have to be where I am today. And that might not be true for you. So maybe think about your story, or maybe you can use mine if you want to, but think about it. Okay. Those people that don't have enough money, often when they can hear how passionate you are about it and how much it's changed your life, suddenly they have the money. It's like, you want that, I don't know, you want your hair done, but you can't afford it. But you see someone with a really nice hairstyle and you're like, damn it, I'm going to find the money for that, right? That's exactly what this is. Okay. So we all, not everyone, of course, some people have been really hard hit and they don't have money available to even go and buy, everything they need to eat and survive, right? But just be careful not to push off your assumptions about what money people have available right now off on them, and really help them see the benefits. Because confidently, and again, you guys who've helped people already, how many people who've invested into this that you've helped have said that was such a waste of money? What a ripoff. No one has ever said that to me that's enrolled with me. Usually they're like, wow, I had no idea how incredible these programs were. Like, think about when you enrolled and maybe you're talking to me, maybe you're talking to somebody else, and you enrolled and you're like, oh my goodness, this is insane for what I get for the money, right? So remember to hold that strong when someone's saying they don't have the money. Like, obviously we need to be a little bit sensitive, but we need to be that person that's like, why wouldn't you invest that tiny bit of money that you have in yourself, in your health, particularly now? People are struggling, okay? They're struggling mentally and they're struggling physically. And guess what? We have the solution for that. So if they've got the ability to scrabble around for 160 quid, chances are they're likely to invest it in themselves if they've got any sense right now. Yeah, particularly in the UK, they can't get to the gym. So the other thing that you can do if somebody says they don't have the time, and this is something that Brooke Orchard actually covered on a leadership live in the team page. I think it was before you guys had started as coaches, probably about 6 weeks ago. But she's a 10-star diamond coach. I met her in Arizona. She's absolutely wonderful. And she was talking about her conversations, and she said something that I've never done. When people said, I don't have time, she says, how much time do you think something like this would take? Which I thought was really interesting. I'm not quite sure yet whether or not that works with my flow. But it does provoke responses. Okay. And what we're trying to do is get to the bottom. Okay. Really, like, it's like unraveling an onion, right? So someone says, I don't have enough time or money, and they've just given you, like, you've just taken the top, like, crunchy layer of the onion off, right? You still don't know what's in the middle. That's not really their objection. Okay. That's not really their issue. Okay. Usually it's people don't believe that they'll stay the course with something like this because they've tried something in the past that they tried to do and they did it for a bit and then they fell off and it didn't work. And so they are worried they're going to fail. Okay. So this is why in your posts in social media, it's really fundamental. If you are getting typical objections like, I don't have time, or I don't have money, or I'm just worried I'm going to fail again. If you can collectively do kind of like it's almost like a data collection, right, on those objections you're getting. What is the majority of the objections that you are getting? And call it out in a public post. So you'll see girls in the team be like, oh, you know, people telling you they don't have enough time. I didn't get it. We all have enough time. It's just an excuse. And they'll do a whole post on it. Okay. So that's another way, because I don't have enough time is the biggest cop out ever. You guys know that. A lot of you guys probably felt you didn't have enough time when you started. You made time, right? You get up half an hour earlier. Again, if someone gives you that objection for the boot camp, you just say, it ultimately, you know, you can say like, it ultimately depends how much you want it. You've just got to get out of bed half an hour earlier, and it feels impossible. And then you start doing it and it becomes addictive. So, you know, if you've built a connection with somebody as well, guys, before they say they're not interested, before you invite them, then that's where the magic happens. That's why, like, are you on a fitness journey too? And they're like, yeah. And then you might ask them, like, I'll often ask, like, what goals are you working towards, or and what's your favorite sort of workout? Like, I'm a PT. It's obvious from my page, like I'm really into the workouts. That's often a question I ask. Like, what's your favorite sort of workout? What workouts do you enjoy? Because that's my profession, right? So I'll often ask that question. So usually, if they're replying to my message, my initial, like, are you on a fitness journey too? Or how long have you been on your fitness journey? I've opened a conversation with them, and often I've understood like where they're struggling. So then they're like, oh, I'm doing these workouts. So I'm like, oh, are you following any particular program, or how are you with your nutrition? And hopefully I've asked those questions, so that then when I ask the invite and they say no, I ask them why, they give me the objection, I try to call them out on that, and then I really try to bring it back to at the end, like, here's why I know I can help, because you told me that you have an addiction to sugar, and I've got the solution with the superfood that we have, because I had the same problem, you know. So the more forearmed you can be with the conversation that you've got before the invite. And obviously, as I said, like I've said this on team calls, I invite the day after I've started a connection, and often I won't have a conversation, but often I will. Okay. And those girls that have conversed with me, I have a much more of a rapport with them. So actually I do have the ability to push them a bit more, right? Because I've built a connection. So I can kind of say, why was that? You know, because they've built that connection with me, they get me, you know, and it's much nicer. But it's not a reason to not send an invite if someone doesn't reply to that initial message, because often you'll then not get a reply to that message. And I learned this the hard way. You won't send the invite, and then the day you decide that you're going to send an invite with no reply, they reply going, yeah, please, I want more details. And you're like, damn, I should have been inviting people off, no response from my initial message. So with overcoming objections, it really is about, you know, maybe do this as a task, guys. You're newer coaches. And so that kind of confidence muscle, that belief in what we do is building, and it's not as strong as it will be a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months, a year from now, right? You're going to get more and more kind of confident in what we have to offer. But write down, maybe sit down. In fact, I'd say do this, like sit down and write down, what has this brought to my life? What has this opportunity brought to my life? What have these programs brought to my life? And why do I believe in this? And why am I going to ensure that I call myself out when I'm not willing to ask those questions? Yeah, because I think that task will really help you on those days where you're like, oh, I don't want to probe. Sit down and look at that. Like, what has this done for your life? Like, how dare we not ask more questions? We haven't done our job if we're not going to ask more questions. And what you'll find is when you start to do that, like, yes, you're like as I said before, like you're like an ugly baby giraffe, right? You're like a bit clunky in your conversations, and it's all a bit awkward, and people get annoyed. And yes, they're going to get annoyed. It's a new, you know, it's a new job for you guys. We all start somewhere, and hopefully they're not going to get annoyed. Like, you don't get, I used to get some irritated messages. I rarely do now. And if I do, it's usually because they've got their own lack of personal development. But you know, just really call yourself out on that, because in the beginning, when you haven't seen that much success yet, it can be so easy to be like, oh, they've said no, oh, that's rejection, oh, that must be because I'm me and no one's interested in what I've got to offer because I'm new, and why would anyone, you know, that we get in our head about it. Okay, it's not personal. I get no all the time. Okay, does that stop me? No, I'm like, yes, give me a no. Okay, so like, see the no as the road to yes, which is what Go for No talks about. It says no is not the opposite of yes. We're just genetically conditioned, or socially conditioned rather, to believe that no is the opposite of yes. And actually, in sales, and certainly in this business, no is the road to yes. So yeah, have you guys got any specific, like any examples of objections that you've got, or any conversations that you can like pull out now? I probably should have said this like earlier on, that you are struggling to work out what to ask and where to go from here. Just because I think if we've got some examples, that'd be really useful, because then I can just, you know, we've got some real life examples of how I would talk around the objection or what they've said.
I have a question. How do you ask them why in a polite way?
Yes. So if they say no,
Yeah, like why are you saying no kind of thing?
yeah. I will just say, do you mind me asking why? It's just so useful for me to know if you don't mind me asking. Yeah, that's really kind of the softest way that you can ask. And
Okay,
some
because
people
that
are
was something I was going to do before this call with someone, and I was just like stuck because I had no
yeah.
idea how to ask.
To start with, when you start doing that, you feel like, oh my God, what is this person going to tell me? They're going to tell me to F off. This is going to be so, like, I remember doing it and I was like, oh, I'm really cringing over sending that message. And actually, for the most part, either they're gonna not like that question, in which case, honestly, guys, they're not your people. Like, if you're asking for honest feedback, you could also say, like, do you mind me asking why? It's always just so useful for me to know as part of the feedback on my business. That could be another way to put it. Yeah, as newer coaches, that might be a good way to put it. Some people are going to read it the wrong way, and honestly, they've probably got a little bit of an attitude problem if they're not going to be willing to tell you why. Like, why it's a no. If someone said to me, like, someone, obviously I'm in network marketing, but if somebody said to me, like, are you interested? And I said no, and then they said, do you mind me asking why? I'd definitely give them the honest answer. And actually, even if I wasn't in network marketing, I probably would. Like, just think about how you would respond to that. Because again, how you want to be invited is how you should invite, and how you would want to be questioned is how you should question. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So think about what you would respond to if somebody said, like, you maybe just need to sit down and come up with your own wording. What question would you respond to if you'd said no, someone came back to you? What would you respond to? Maybe think about that.
Thank you.
That's okay. Because the thing is that I'm trying to give you guys all of the like stuff that I do. Um, but the thing that you kind of learn, and that I've learned, and that I think all of us need to learn, is that every single one of us is different, and every single one of us is gonna have conversations in a different way. We're all unique. That's the joy and beauty of it. So some stuff that I've just shared might not work for you. Okay. And don't think that's just because, oh, that's a load of rubbish he's just given us. It's just, that's what works for me. And unfortunately, this business is made in conversation, and scripting everything won't work. Okay. So you can play with that, and I'm sure it will work for a lot of you, but some of you won't resonate with it, and you'll have to find your own way. And I'll be perfectly honest, there is not one single script that I use from my training that I use as a script. Like, every single thing that I send to you guys, like my invites, my connections, my follow-ups, they're all things that I've devised. They're not things that I've learned off a training. Yes, like, I've had an indicator of what sort of thing to write, but I've got to the point where I've tweaked it and changed it, tweaked it and changed it, tweaked it and changed it. And now that's my process. Yeah. So just be kind to yourself. Okay. And I think this is what I think is so important. And I think I said this to you guys on the first call. It's really fundamental, guys, that you understand that this journey as a new coach, you need to be mentally invested in this for a year. It's no use expecting to do this for a month or two and to be an absolute rock star. I'm 2 and a bit years in, and I'm still learning all the time, but I love that. And that's why I say, like, fall in love with the journey. And it is really important to be somebody that loves to learn and to grow, because this process of being a coach can be painful and ugly, but also beautiful, because to work through all of that, like limiting self-beliefs and everything we've been taught, and to reset wires in the brain, which certainly is what I've had to do, can be really painful and ugly. But I tell you, when you start to move through that stuff, and you literally shed all those like ugly layers that have kept you stuck in this vicious circle of whatever pattern you've been conditioned to do, you start to feel incredible. You really do. And I'm addicted to sharing the business opportunity because of what it's done for me, and because I know that's what it does for my coaches if they're in this for the long haul. It's just fact. It's what will happen. So not all of it's going to be rainbows and unicorns. It's really not. And that's why, like, as a new coach, and I shared this on the call yesterday, it's really important to have a vision of where you want to go with this business, even if you're not sure what that vision quite looks like yet. Like, allow yourself maybe 20 minutes tomorrow, just sit down and think about, right, if I was to really go for it with this business, how would it look for me? What would my family be doing? Where would we live? What I don't know, what worktops would we have in the kitchen? Like, and I say that because it's not too soon to ever, like, I know as a new coach, somebody shared vision and I was like, how ridiculous. Like, I'm just earning enough to cover my Shakeology. Like, how crazy is that? But actually, until I started doing that, I wasn't consistent because I didn't have a vision to like grip to. And again, like with overcoming objections, if you're clear on your vision, you're going to ask those uncomfortable questions and you're going to be willing to put yourself out there, because you're not going to let your like own fear hold you back from that potential, because you all have phenomenal potential. Have you got any other questions on the overcoming objections? No, I went off on a tangent there, but do ask away. Like, honestly, anything like that you're like, I just don't know how to reply to this or to that. Have you got any examples, or even anything not related to that? Nothing. Don't be shy, because honestly, a lot of the time, if you've got a question on something, someone else is like, yes, I've got that question too. How are you guys getting on with doing the tracker?
Some days good, some days not so good.
Okay. So I would say, like, with the tracker, the sooner that you get consistent with the tracker, the sooner you'll get consistent with helping people. And that's like black and white. I could pull out like the sheets and sheets of business activity trackers that I have. I've done them solidly for like at least 20 months. And people will often say, like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I'm like, consistency over time. And the consistency over time has come from a clear vision. Okay, so looking at my vision board. So maybe do that, Alice. Maybe like look at what you'd really want from this
Yeah,
and
because
get that.
I took a screenshot to send to you and then forgot to send it to you, and then you like were talking about it. So I was like, yeah, I didn't get that to you even though I did the work for it. So it's just like little things like that. I just need to kind of get a bit more on top of being done.
Don't beat yourself up though. Like, just know you guys are in the first month, right? And you're getting the benefit of me having gone through all this ugly, like disorganized mess as a new, like, I honestly look back at my coach journey to start with and I don't even know how I got to where I got to, because I didn't have somebody telling me like really what I should be doing every day. I certainly wasn't tracking every day. I was inviting, I was doing my workout, I was having my Shakeology, and I was doing personal development, and I was following up. Okay, other than that, I definitely didn't even know what the back was. In fact, I don't even know whether it existed. So I don't want you guys to feel like this is super overwhelming. I just want you guys to know that tried and tested, I know what it takes to get you into that groove of seeing success. And obviously, I want you guys to see that success as quickly as you can, because you're all really capable here. And I can promise you, yeah, getting clear on when, like, even Alice, if you sit down and work out when in your day, like even if 2 days don't look the same, when in your day you're going to execute those things.
Yeah,
You were on the team call yesterday, weren't you?
yeah, I was. Yeah,
Yeah. So was that power hour helpful?
yeah, it was helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would set timers as well, because that's the thing, again, like mentally, when you're working a business that is in your own home, we feel like we're not at work. And so mentally we drift, all of us do, and me included. So setting yourself, like, I always now try to set myself, right, I'm going to do all of my Hey Girls off this post that's got like 200 likes in 30 minutes, right? And I set myself to work. That's a lot to get through, but it keeps me on the edge of my seat. And I would never get that stuff done unless I set those timers. So I would just say set those timers and think about your vision as well.
yeah, that's really good advice. Thank you.
And enjoy it. Like, you've had such amazing results with your 21-day fix. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, I am pleased with like how I've achieved it so far. I'm definitely not going to give up on myself, and I'm not going to give up on signing people up either. It's just being a bit
It's going to
slow.
take time. And also, it's, some of us are more confident naturally than others, but it makes you more relatable And I think like that letting people in is the bit where we build connection. I was talking to Gail about this earlier. That's where we really build connection, when we start to tell our story in our posts. And I advise you guys to do that once a week. Tell your story, like whatever it is for you, your health, your mindset, whatever it is. And that's going to feel really hard to start with, really, really hard. Some of you are going to find it easier than others, but generally, like sharing your like insides with the outside world is not a natural feeling, particularly if you've been through trauma and struggles in your life. But I can promise you that you are going to get nothing but support, nothing but support, nothing but, oh my goodness, this girl, like she's got, and they're going to connect with you and they're going to want to join you. And it is really magical, I'll tell you, when you start to really be true to who you are. And I'm not saying it's because you guys are being fake, because none of you are, but it's hard to be really true to who you are when you're not comfortable with that social media piece. And I'll just share something. Like, I lost my mum just over 2 years ago, and I have many, many coaches in my team who've lost a parent. And that's really sad, but it's also amazing, because I'm like, sometimes they've not even seen a post about what's happened with my mum, but they've connected with me on a deeper level. So the more authentic and true to who you are, the more you're going to connect with your Alices, your Gails, your Kels, your Heathers, because they're going to be like, I was that girl, like a then and now post as well. And that's going to start to feel really rewarding, because people start to say, oh, I really related to this post. And that is like, when someone tells me they've really related to me, or that they've loved something I've shared because they feel the same, that for me is worth like more than 10 signups, right? Because I've connected with somebody. And that's what we want in this earth. Like, all of us, we're on this earth to connect with people. And isn't that magical that we can do that through social media? So when people say like social media is fake, it really bothers me, because I'm like, social media is fake if you're going to be fake about who you are, which, yeah, people do that. But it's really, really real. And when you start to, like, when we go to Summit next year and we start to all come together, you'll start to see, wow, I can see how this team's all come together. And if you've got girls that go with you, it's going to be amazing. And you'll start to really see that. And I know you're not there now, but I want to share that like magic. It's honestly magical. And that's your business, to build it with people who are your people. What other business can you do that in? You know, like, I hated my boss in my corporate job. So yeah. Who's doing MBF? I know it's quite early for you guys and you're all kind of set in your 21-day fix, a 21-day fix extreme, a lot of you.
I'm still sort of halfway through, or like on the last week of the prep. So I wasn't sure if I was going to finish that and then do MBF, because the ropes will take a bit to get here.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going to start it on the 7th, like tomorrow, but I'm going to buy it tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's up to you. Like, I know Gail, she's doing, I think she's got, how many more workouts have you got?
Finish on Sunday. So
yeah. And Gail's doubling up. Now, I wouldn't double up. That's me. I don't like doubling up. It's up to you. So I've done the first day of week 4 in the prep, and I think I've got like 4 workouts left. And if I'm
you're in the same spot as I am with that, I think.
Exactly. So if I'm being honest, I'm going to go through MBF, MBFA. I mean, it's a little bit different for me because I lead the team, so I need to be on it tomorrow, right? Like I do. So it's up to you. You can, and I would say, like, it doesn't mean you can't join our coach test group. We're going to have daily check-ins. But I wouldn't want to say you have to join tomorrow or die. Like, that doesn't seem so you can join that when you're ready.
I've requested to join the group. I just wasn't sure if I was going to start it until I got the ropes or not.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting tomorrow.
Okay.
But like, you do what you feel is better. Like, as with everything, as I've said, like, enjoy the journey. Like, what do you feel most comfortable with? Do that.
Yeah.
The group will always be there. I'm pretty excited about the ropes. I'm pretty worried that Arthur's going to hit the dogs with them, but we'll get to that.
I'm really excited to see what the workouts are, so I might try it tomorrow just because I'm like super psyched to see what they look like. So
I think, yeah. Kel, are you back in the UK now? No.
I'm coming back in this weekend.
How are you getting back?
Motorbike.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a long week. I'm keep myself a bit lazy for the journey.
If you're on the back
Yeah.
of a motorbike, do you have to engage a core?
Well, you have
To
tried
lead
to not
the
fall
group?
down. Yeah.
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 I admire you,
So
seriously.
I'm gonna use my muscle, but not that much.
I would literally whinge the whole way back to the UK. You would not want me to be your passenger.
Oh no. I don't want myself.
Well, you're brave. It'll be good to
Uh,
be back.
Yes, I'm try to I'm really curious about the new program, but I don't think I'm really prepared for to start this week. So
That's
I'm
okay.
gonna
They
probably
said
keep
like
going.
the accessories bundle for a coach is £52. So that will get you the ropes and the workout calendar and obviously the digital access, which we need for the program.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you guys can do, and I've shared it in the page, but just since you're all here, you can do a completion pack. If your superfood is coming up soon, which it probably will be actually, I can't remember when all of you enrolled, you can enroll with a completion pack, which gets you the Shakeology or the performance line, and it's $130. I'm not sure what it is in Canadian, Heather.
I can figure it out. That's fine.
Yeah. But you save about $10, £10. I'm not sure, again, probably like 12 Canadian on the superfood if you order it together. So it just depends what you want to do. My Shakeology, I really stupidly had it already ship and time ran away. So I'm going to get the accessories bundle tomorrow. But I was pretty amazed actually. Usually the accessories bundle is always $52 or £52. And I was thinking like this time with MBF, I thought those weighted bod ropes would be a lot more expensive, but they've managed to do it for the same price, which I thought was quite cool. So yeah. Have you guys got any other questions? Was that useful? Is that like overcoming objections? Anyone got any other questions on that?
No,
No, but I've got.
for myself. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go on.
Yeah, go on, Cal.
So yeah, for me at the end was a bit overwhelming everything. So I tried to do one thing at a time, just to get the build up on my routine and my schedule. So I'm still probably more behind, but try to build myself and a better routine to getting this fully functioning to the process. So
And just
yes,
know,
this
like,
is.
everyone.
Sorry, keep going.
Everyone is gonna. None of you are going to go at the same pace. You're going to do different things at different times. That's the beauty of this business, because you're all individual. Yeah, I've got girls in my business now that are starting to like level up out of nowhere. You know, and as I said, like, as long as you're enjoying it, reach out to me if you've got any questions. The sooner you can start doing the BAT, the better. And the way you're going to find the motivation to do the BAT is through having a clear vision on where it is you want to go. Like, those two things are going to really help you. Alice, did you have a question?
Yeah. It's sort of non-related, but because our month, like our first month, is coming up to the end, will we still be having these calls, or will you be starting with your next?
I will start with my
group?
next
You know what I
group.
mean?
So, but as I said, like, I will always make time for one-on-ones, but this is why the tracker is so important, because it is like, you're a month in, and I'll be honest, hand on heart, you should be doing that business activity tracker, because if you're a month in and you're not able to build consistency with it, people will start to say things like, this isn't working for me. Yeah, because that's where you're going to find that success. And I will, like, whether or not you completely complete that business activity tracker, if you've posted it and you've done your best, and maybe you've had a crap week and you haven't done like all of the boxes, don't worry. Like, it is, I'll be honest, it's hard to do all of the boxes. And I would say this as well, with that tracker, if you're super busy or like everything's disjointed, which it can be in the beginning, you're like, you know, can't see the wood for the trees. If I miss a box on one day, I will always make sure I filled it out on the next day. So if you've got gaps, you're making sure that it's not always the same gap, right? And the gaps to really pay attention to for you guys are the connections, the follow-ups, and the invites. That's where you really don't want any gaps. Yeah.
Okay.
So just make sure you post it on a Thursday. When I say share your tracker, just share it. You can use the Success Club BAT app, which is super easy. There's an SC BAT app, or you can print the paper copy. Like, I love paper. I'm, terrible me, but I don't feel like I've done something unless I physically ticked a box. It's just me. If you've done it, I'm always gonna reach out to every single person that submitted their tracker and say, when are you available next week? Let's book in a one-on-one. And I'll always give you like 30 minutes, sometimes longer. It just depends. Like, and it's completely just a one-on-one. So don't feel like, oh, you've done your month, bye, see you. That's not the leader that I am. But I'm being cruel to be kind. Like, you guys need to do that tracker, and you guys need to do that tracker because you're in a business, and that tracker is going to help you see success. And I don't want for any of you to not see success. And if you don't want to do the tracker and you just want to do the programs and you want to just be part of the community, which some people decide they don't want to do the business, but they love the community and they want to keep having the product, that's also fine. But if you want to build a business, I'm here to support you. But if you want to build a business, you need to do the tracker. So I know it sounds quite blunt, but it's honestly, it's the best outcome for you. And I've learned that through, like, again, like, done this for quite a long time. And this team is doing really well, and I want for you to do well, and it's doing well because that's the way that I lead the team. And I think it's fair, right? Give people the time who are doing the work. And if and I'm always like, even if you haven't done your tracker and you're like really struggling with something and you message me, I'm not going to ignore you, right? So and of course you've got the weekly call on a Sunday, we've got the M1 and 24-hour calls, but yeah.
Okay, that's great. That makes total sense. Thank you.
Good. And honestly, I am being cruel to be kind. You'll be thanking me, promise. I'll tell you, I've had a one-on-one with my coach once in my life. So that's the support I got. Just so you know. Like, it's possible to make a success if you're resourceful and you want to do it with no one-on-ones. I've had one on-one.
Wow, it's a very different way of leading.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate the support and not just having one call from you.
I look back and I'm like, I'm not quite sure how I did, like, so when I have a hard day, I'm like, okay, well, that's not a hard day compared to like what you had to do as a new coach.
Yeah.
And you can like think about that. Think about what kind of mistakes I made, right? Loads, all the time. No idea what I was doing. So hopefully that gives you confidence. And honestly, I'll tell you this, the more you are willing to fall flat on your face over and over and over again, the more successful you'll be. If you're not willing to fall on your face, it's not going to work for you. I fall on my face a lot. Yeah. Right, I don't want to keep you all night. That's any other questions? No? Okay.